Ladies and gentlemen, the results are imminent. Could I ask band representatives, please, to make their way to the stage? Thank you very much.
Take up to you.
We're still looking for a rep for Dunaskin and Doon. Can they please make their way to the stage, please?
Ladies and gentlemen, Ladies and gentlemen, we are now ready to announce the results. Would you please welcome to the stage the President of the Scottish Brass Band Association, Carrie Bowles. Would you also please welcome the Secretary of SABA, Tom Allen. And would you also welcome today's adjudicators, Sandy Smith and John Ward. So, I'd like to remind everyone that all the adjudicators' remarks will be available on stage and the full list of results will be displayed on the screen. Could I invite our President, Carrie, to say a few words, please?
Good evening, folks. Yes, it is a good evening. I had said that I wasn't going to speak. Yes, but Robert never got that memo. For me, it's been an amazing day again of music making. It seems like, and I said this morning, it seems like a long year in many respects, so many highs and many lows as well, but we've made it and we're back, and I can only thank every one of the bands that have attended today, their players, supporters, managers and conductors, because it really is an effort of love, a labour of love, and trying to get to this prestigious event. So thank you to you all. Thank you to all of Team SABA, and I will mention individuals tomorrow. But again, we have got such a super family of volunteers who work tirelessly for the good of brass banding in Scotland, and it's lovely to interact with people today and see people from across the border and far and wide as well, and just converse with them. And the hospitality has been fantastic. They have been delighted to be here with us, and I'm really, really proud to be the president of the organisation. So the only other person that I want to mention just now is someone who unfortunately can't be joining us on this stage, but my heart is beaming with pride and delight because my dear friend, and I'm not going to get emotional, so Peter Fraser MBE is with us in the audience. Peter has been an inspiration to me, and I won't go on at great length because I don't want to get upset, and this is an evening of celebration. But really, if it hadn't been for Peter, I wouldn't be standing where I am today. So thanks, Peter, for your leadership and your inspiration and continuing to tirelessly work behind the scenes. He's probably counting the minutes it's taken for us to get onto the stage, so telling me I'm not running a great show tonight, so I'm going to stop right there. Please continue to keep making music up and down the country. Please continue to support the work of this fantastic organisation and our brass banding movement here in Scotland. Winners, losers, anywhere in between, you've all done a fantastic job today, so please be very proud. Safe journeys home and take care, and I'll speak to you all soon. Thank you.
And could I now invite our adjudicators to say a few words, perhaps Sandy Smith first? Oh, right, okay. John Ward then. Thank you.
Hi, good evening everybody. Thanks for this afternoon. Those of you who might not be aware, Sandy and I judged the second section this morning, and this evening kind of mirrored that in respect of that the standard was really very good. You know, even the band that was last, you know, at the very least was good. It was a good standard, so we really enjoyed sort of hearing the quality of playing from top to bottom. So that was really good. Thank you. I should say that there were 3 bands at the top that were very, very close. And I think it's the top 2 that qualify. So in respect of qualifying, band that came number 3, you were extremely close. So congratulations to those top 3, and in particular the top 2. There's just a few elements. Sandy will talk in more detail about the scoring and some more kind of specifics about, in particular, in respect of balance. But there were, I thought it might be helpful for you to know maybe half a dozen things that made me and Sandy kind of look up and comment on, and that we thought were really important, and that the bands finished higher achieved better than those a little bit lower in the balance. So the opening cornet figure, bar 2 cornet players or 2 cornet parts, getting that balance immediately was a real clue as to what was going to come next with the rest of the cornet section. So getting that balance was really, really crucial, making sure part 2 in particular matched up to part 1. The section at C and D, and that similar section is in the reprise section later on, where you've got the semiquaver marks like da-da. What happened was we had a lot of triplets as opposed to semiquavers, so it's important to pay attention to that rhythmical element. And also little links in between certain parts of the phrase, 2 triplets, dee, da, 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 da. Often we just couldn't hear the triplet at all, so that's a really essential part of the melody and the flow completely missing. So really make sure that those aren't kind of afterthoughts, that they're an essential part of what you're doing in the melody. The dance section, the waltz section with the cornet and the tenor horn and then the euphonium, often the horn and baritone style in those first sort of 4 bars gave us a really strong indication as to what was to come next. We really wanted to hear really good balance and a really sort of elegant, graceful start to that, and that didn't always happen, and that often meant that later on that sort of continued, so something else to think about there. The balances in the slow movement Sandy will talk about in more detail, but in particular letter L, where you've got the magic melody with the sort of the youth counter melody, which is marked at mezzo forte. We understand it's very, very difficult to achieve that balance. If you play exactly what's on paper, which nearly all of you did, somehow it doesn't quite work. And I think because when you look at a mezzo forte marking, it's easy just to think, oh, well, that just has to be louder than everything else. Whereas actually, it's not just about decibel level, it's about the tonality of, say, a euphonium against upper instruments. So that was really difficult to achieve, so we completely understand that. The chapel section, in truth, honestly, at times wasn't balanced at all. There were only really a few bands that achieved any sort of balance in that kind of little motet section, if you like, so attention kind of needed to be paid to that. The marriage section as well, the celebratory sort of 2-2, that felt a little bit throwaway with a lot of bands, kind of that, dare I say, it was probably a little bit easier than the rest of it. Just a little bit more focus was required to give that a real kind of lift and celebratory feel to it. And then just something else towards the end, the trombones and the tempo primo, just as the reprise starts. It was often balanced and not particularly in tune, so it's really important if some of you are facing out. We couldn't tell, and that wasn't really on our minds, but just to be very, very careful about balance and intonation in that section. And then just managing the excitement to close. There's lots of excitement, lots of notes, lots of detail, and it can just run away a little bit if it's just kind of head down and really going for it. So the bands that were near the top managed that excitement really well. I'm going to shut up now and pass you over to Sandy. Thanks, everybody.
Right, I'll try and be as brief as possible. There was a bit of a rumour going about recently that we'd somehow mixed up the test pieces for the first and second section, and that this wasn't a hard piece. That's wrong. The second section piece is perfectly for where it is, and so is this one. It's a hard score. The good thing is, and again, we said this morning, the standard up here is getting better and better. There was normally it splits up into sort of 3 groups. You've got a top, and then you've got a middle bunch, and then the bottom 2 or 3. There was no bottom 2 or 3. There was a middle bunch, and that was it. Everybody played this piece to some extent. And I'm going to criticise you for doing something I've asked you to do now. I keep banging on about dynamics. Everybody played the dynamics that were marked on the score. And that was a slight problem in certain places because Phil is a very skilled composer. He is a proper film music composer. He writes independent film scores and things. He's only got pianissimo, piano, MP, MF, 40, fortissimo, roughly, to go to. And he balances his scores internally, what we would call layered dynamics. And there might be an MF, and all the quiet stuff where the knight is courting the princess and all that. Beautiful, beautiful music. And there's MFs in certain parts, MPs, pianos, all sorts of things. You all did what was there. You all played what was on the score. The problem is, it's fine on paper, and because of the limited palette of writing things, that is in itself is not quite enough. It's up to the conductor then to take his eyes off the score and internally balance what he's hearing. And in some cases, you did exactly what was on the tin, but it wasn't enough. Nobody really exploited that sort of romance music to really, go for the MFs. Didn't need to be full MFs. They're all sort of slightly internally, scaled down, and just be a bit more loving with the music and things like that. Everybody played it, and we were sat there saying, "This is fine. This is all fine. It's good. It's good." But there's a little bit of magic missing, which nearly everybody missed. That's your next move now. Don't just. It's great that you're doing all the dynamics. I cannot fault that at all. But just be aware that there might be a little bit of magic to be made in certain places. I'm hoping if you're here tomorrow, you'll hear a bit of that in some of the top section playing, where bands make a bit of magic about something and it just sets the hairs on your arm up. That's your next move. But honestly, be very well reassured. The standard is fine. You're doing really well. There was no bad performances today. There was no one who struggled with the piece at all. And it is a hard piece. It's a lot harder than it looks. Thank you for playing it. It has reassured me that we got the piece right. And good luck for the rest of the weekend. Thank you.
Well, thank you, everyone. And now for the moments of truth. The Scottish Brass Band Association Medal for Best Instrumentalist goes to the solo cornet of the band which played number 4, Holborn Silver. And Callum Blair is that man's name. The next award is the Thomas Macaulay Memorial Trophy for the best horn player, and this goes to the solo horn in band which played number 1, Bathgate. We're looking for Louise Macaulay. Well done. In third place, and receiving the John Cunningham Memorial Trophy and £75, with 188 points, was band number 5, Kirkintilloch. In second place, and receiving the Jim McCafferty Memorial Trophy, £100 and an invitation to compete in the national finals in Cheltenham on 16th and 17th September, with 189 points, was the band that played number 1, Bathgate. And the Scottish First Section champions for 2023, winning the Archie Smith Memorial Trophy, £200, a medal for each member of the band and the winner's banner, and the Andy Smith Memorial Trophy for the winning conductor, and an invitation to compete in the national finals at Cheltenham on 5th, 16th and 17th September, with 190 points, was the band that played number 4, Holborn Silver. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that completes the first section awards and the first day of these championships. Okay, we'll be back tomorrow, 9:30, with Section 4, Section 4B, and the championship section. Thank you very much.